Welcome to part 2 of my ASUS Destrier ROG Chair review, where I answer your frequently asked questions. Now, I did get in touch with ASUS and they told me that they do not have an affiliate program here in the United States, so I'm basically making no money on these videos. So if you want to support this channel, buy a brother a beer, I'll leave my PayPal link down below, or you can give a super thanks through YouTube. All of that helps this channel so much and keeps these reviews going. I really appreciate the help. Does the ASUS ROG Chair have Synchro tilt? For those who don't know, cheaper tilt mechanisms work in such a way that the angle of the seat to the back stay fixed when you tilt back, so that when you lean back, your legs and your feet will basically lift up with you, and it provides worse ergonomics because your feet can no longer be planted on the floor as you tilt. Synchro tilt, on the other hand, are found in mid to high-end chairs where when the back tilts, the seat tilts at a different angle than the back, allowing your feet and legs to stay planted on the floor for better ergonomics. As you can see on the ASUS ROG Chair, when I tilt back in the chair, you can see that the back and seat do tilt at different angles, leading me to believe that the ASUS ROG Chair does have Synchro tilt. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree in the comments below. I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm not exactly sure. I've never seen this kind of tilt motion where the seat actually lifts up a little bit rather than tilting back a little bit. So I'm actually not 100% sure about this. Next question was, can the headrest and acoustic panel be removed? Yes, and one thing that I missed about the acoustic panel was that ASUS did conduct some experiments with the acoustic panel, and it does seem to block out some side noise. Again, here in the studio, I only have headphones. I don't have any speakers, so I have no way to test this myself, but I'll go ahead and post their marketing material on its effectiveness right now. Next up, I'll compare the ASUS ROG Chair with pretty much every chair you guys asked for in the comments below. Links to all of those chairs will be in the description below. Please use them. It really helps this channel a lot. And even though each of these videos could be a video in its own right, I'm going to try to hit the most important points, starting with this chair compared to other high-end mesh chairs. The ASUS ROG Chair and the Steelcase Karman both use a fabric-y type mesh both on the seat and on the back. However, the mesh on the Steelcase Karman does feel more premium. Also, when you sit inside of the Steelcase Karman, it definitely feels a little bit softer than the ASUS ROG Chair, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that they put a cushion underneath of the seat pad here. Now, when it comes to really dialing in the chair to exactly the way you want it, the ASUS ROG Chair is going to crush the Karman because you got so much more dial-in features here, including like seat depth adjustment and rear tilt lock and all of that stuff. And when it comes to the headrest, obviously the ASUS ROG Chair has one, whereas the Steelcase Karman does not have a headrest, and as far as I know, I don't think anyone has one, especially Steelcase. They mentioned that they're probably not going to make a headrest for this chair. Now, when it comes to freedom, both of these chairs offer an incredible amount of freedom because the seat pans are flat. The hard edges aren't really that hard, at least when you sit in it, you can, curl up in it just fine. The ASUS ROG might have just a little bit of an edge here because you can scooch it more out, giving you more depth, be able to curl up and raise your legs up inside of the chair. However, when it comes to flexibility and movement, the Steelcase Karman crushes the ASUS ROG. That chair feels definitely more stiff, and even though you have a lot of space to move inside the chair, this chair will literally move with you and curl and bend and twist with you as you move throughout the workday. When it comes to warranty, the Steelcase Karman is going to crush the ASUS ROG. Here in the United States, you get 12 years of warranty. I believe in the UK, they've reduced it down to, 5 years, and they have a proven track record of excellent customer service. Compare that with the ASUS ROG that offers 2-year warranty, and I'm not exactly sure what the process for customer service is going to look like with this. The trade-off is that the Steelcase Karman is more expensive, around $200 more than the ASUS ROG. The ASUS ROG's mesh is fabric-y, it sits flat, and it's much more tight compared to the Aeron's mesh, which is plasticky, it's more curved, and it's got a little bit more give. And therefore, when you sit inside of the Aeron, it's going to feel softer compared to the ASUS ROG, especially in that butt area where it kind of sinks down more to grab that booty. Now, the downside of the Aeron is that because of its curved seat, you're not going to be able to move around as much in the chair before you run into these really hard curved edges, whereas on the ASUS ROG, you have almost no limitations when it comes to movement inside of the chair because, again, it's flat and you don't really feel those hard edges, especially when you curl up in your chair and do something like that. Both chairs have a ton of adjustability, but one adjustment that the Aeron has that the ROG does not is the option to forward tilt in your chair, which allows you to take pressure off of that lower back as you are scooched up more inside of your chair when you're doing crafts or something like that. Or if you're older, a lot of people have noted that it's easier to get up out of your chair when the seat is forward tilted. The ASUS ROG has a few features that the Aeron does not have though. For example, it's got the option to tilt limit in your tilt lock in the back of your chair, so you can stay tilted in a rear position. The lumbar support can be moved up and down. The Aerons can only be tightened in or out, at least the PostureFit SL, the highest level, can only be done in and out, whereas on the ASUS ROG, you can move it up and down and in and out, so it provides excellent lumbar support. And you've also got the ability to adjust the seat pan in and out on the ASUS ROG, whereas on the Aeron, you don't have that option. You just have to buy a bigger or smaller chair if you need a different size. The Herman Miller Aeron does have a headrest option, but it's not made by Herman Miller. It's made by a separate company called Atlas Headrest. This is, I believe, the second best headrest in the entire world. It is phenomenal. This is the fabric one. You can get a mesh one that is a 1-to-1 match of your mesh and frame color. It's phenomenal. The adjustments are great. Whereas, but then the headrest is gonna cost you, it's gonna run you about $180-ish, which is a lot of money for an already expensive chair. Compare that with the ASUS ROG. It comes with a headrest, and I would say this is just above average. It's not great. Now, when it comes to build quality, the Herman Miller Aeron is unparalleled in terms of build quality for a mesh chair. Now, it's a little bit different than the Steelcase Karman because it's a much more stiff frame, whereas the Steelcase Karman is meant to bend. So the plastic here is gonna feel much more dense compared to any of these chairs. But just when you touch, because these are kind of similar build designs where it's a much more firm and rigid frame, when you touch the plastic, you just know you're getting a much higher quality plastic with the Herman Miller Aeron. But again, double the price. This thing starts at about $1,800, whereas the ASUS ROG comes in at about $900. So yeah, they're talking double the price. Let me know in the comments if you think it's worth double the price. Next, we're going to be comparing the ASUS ROG with various fabric chairs. But here are some universal truths about fabric chairs when compared to mesh chairs. First is that fabric and cushion will always feel softer than mesh. It's just the nature of fabric and cushion. The next is going to be that sitting in an ergonomic rebel position, so sitting either with leg tucked under leg or sitting, both curled up in the chair or just both tucked in. I can't really do it because of a bad knee. But if you try to do that inside of a mesh chair, the ASUS ROG, it's pretty damn good for a mesh chair. But it still can't beat a fabric chair because you have no hard edges whatsoever on any of these fabric chairs. And then the third one, hold on, let me look at my notes here, forget what it was. Okay, it's that the ASUS ROG chair is the only chair in this entire comparison list that can be locked in a tilt back position. So it's the only chair where you can tilt back and you can lock it into a tilt back position. None of the other fabric chairs, and even the mesh chairs that I just mentioned, can lock in this kind of rear tilt position. The common complaints about the Herman Miller Embody is with the lumbar support. It's a static piece of bump that just stays right there. Compare that with the ASUS ROG, where you can adjust the lumbar support up and down and in and out, and it feels phenomenal compared to the Herman Miller Embody. The second complaint about the Herman Miller Embody that I hear a little bit is that for taller folks that are 6'3", 6'4", and taller, these curved edges on the back can dig into the shoulder blades, especially because you have a taller torso. The same issue is going to be found on the ASUS ROG because it's just the nature of the way these chairs were designed. However, the Herman Miller Embody does have a way to potentially address this issue with this headrest, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Speaking of tall people, the Herman Miller Embody can accommodate, I believe, a larger range of heights compared to the ASUS ROG. And that's for a few reasons. One is because the height range of the chair itself, it can extend lower and higher than the ASUS ROG. The other reason is because the seat pan can unfold and become deeper so that people who are taller with longer legs, it can accommodate you. And it doesn't create a gap in the back like with 99% of these chairs because only the front unfolds and becomes longer that way. And then also, finally, it's because of the headrest, which we'll talk about a little later. The ASUS ROG, even though the seat pan can go in and out and you don't feel a gap back here when you sit, unfortunately, the height range of this chair is so short that it can't really accommodate a ton of taller folks. I would say a maximum of 6'2", and even then I'd say you might be pushing it. Both chairs allow a ton of freedom of movement inside the chair, but the Herman Miller Embody is going to take the cake here. Again, it's got no hard edges, and also because the seat and the backrest move and flex with you as you move around inside of the chair. It is phenomenal. It is what makes this chair my favorite chair. The ASUS ROG chair comes with a headrest, and I would say it's just slightly above average. Compared to the Herman Miller Embody, while Herman Miller doesn't make a headrest for this, the company Atlas Headrest does. And it is the best headrest in the entire world. Not only is it a one-to-one match in terms of fabric, color, fabric, and then the plasticky, this plastic material back here, the frame color as well matches the frame of the chair, so it's a one-to-one identical match, but also the cushion of this is ridiculous, the adjustability is phenomenal, and remember what I was talking about for taller folks, 6'3" and taller? This headrest can actually, some people have reported that it can actually provide additional upper back support, neck support, and push forward just a tiny bit so that your shoulders aren't running in and digging into the side, this top of the back chair here. Now again, this headrest is gonna run you quite a bit. It's gonna cost you around $200, which is substantial because you're already paying for a ridiculously expensive chair. Speaking of cost, the Herman Miller Embody starts around $1,700, whereas the ASUS ROG Chair is about $900. If you tack on the headrest, that's gonna be extra money. Now, you do get, again, the excellent 12-year warranty from Herman Miller with a proven excellent track record of customer service versus 2 years and unknown track record of customer service. And the build quality of the Herman Miller body is going to be phenomenal compared to the ASUS ROG, which you can tell is using slightly cheaper plastics here. A universal truth is that fabric chairs are going to be softer to sit in than mesh chairs, but this is especially the case with the Haworth Fern with the digital knit back. This one here is not the digital knit back. I have that one at home, so I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not just making this up. And that digital knit back feels phenomenal to sit in, especially the cushion that you get on your back. Now, when it comes to the lumbar support, the Haworth Fern does come with an optional lumbar support, but people have complained that this is just too intense and you can't control how much or how little you get of that. It's just a bubble that sits there. I personally like it. Some people have noted that they don't. Thank goodness it's removable, although it's a little bit more of an involved process to remove that lumbar support. Compare that to the ASUS ROG's lumbar support. Again, you can tighten it in or out. You can move it up and get all the way down as low as that coccyx, and it feels really, really good and highly adjustable. The Haworth Fern has an incredibly tall back, and it seems like it can accommodate people that are really, really tall. However, the seat pan, when you go ahead and slide it out, there is a significant gap back there, and if you scooch back all the way in your chair, if that's how you sit, then you will feel that gap. Now, the ASUS ROG, even though you don't feel any kind of gap when you scooch the seat pan out, unfortunately, the height range is severely limited, limiting how tall a person can be when they sit inside of this chair. Both chairs, again, allow a lot of freedom of movement inside of the chair, but the Haworth Fern is gonna be the winner here because the back flexes and moves and bends with you as you move. It's phenomenal. The ASUS ROG Chair, again, comes with a headrest and it's just okay, it's slightly above average. Compared to the Haworth Fern, which does not, well, they do have a headrest and you should not buy it, but this one is, again, from Atlas Headrest, but it's using an adapter. This is supposed to be for the Herman Miller Aeron, but they use an adapter so it fits on the Haworth Fern, and it works surprisingly well, although aesthetically, it's clearly not a one-to-one match like Atlas headrest for the Aeron and the Embody. Now, I will say that this thing, it can only be used if you're about 5'5" and over. If you're under that, it cannot work because you can only go so low on this chair. But if you can use it, it feels phenomenal, even though it doesn't look great. But again, this thing will run you an additional $200 on the chair. Now, when it comes to warranty, again, Haworth has a phenomenal warranty, 12 years, excellent proven track record of excellent customer service. I actually saw a YouTube short the other day with some guy complaining about the build quality on his Fern, but then Haworth just totally swapped out his chair. So excellent customer service, 2 years on the ASUS ROG, and not sure what that customer service is gonna look like. When it comes to pricing, I just found out that Haworth is offering an all-plastic model of the Fern with the digital knit back for around $1,300. With the headrest, it's gonna be about $1,500 compared to the ASUS ROG, which is gonna run you about $900. This Steelcase Leap V2 comes from Crandall Office. It's a remanufactured one, so it's got a thicker seat pad and a thicker backrest, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Now, when it comes to lumbar support, the Steelcase Leap V2's lumbar can be moved up and down, and then there's a knob on the right that allows you, it's called a lower back firmness. Now, I found that when I turn it, it kind of tightens on the outside of the lower back rather than on the middle. So when it comes to lumbar support, I think the win goes to the ASUS ROG. Again, you can tighten it in and out, move it up and down, and you can get it super, super duper low, even onto that coccyx area. It feels great. Now, when it comes to freedom of movement inside of the chair, again, both chairs offer a lot of freedom of movement and seating options in the chair. However, the Steelcase Sleep V2 is known to bend and curl with you. As you can see, I'm able to kind of flex the back of this chair because that's what it's known for, to be able to move and flex as you move. The Steelcase Sleep V2 does not have a headrest. Well, kind of. Steelcase does make a headrest for the Leap V2, but it is a sorry excuse for a headrest. It is terrible. Nobody should buy it. It's literally a piece of plastic that juts out with a pad on it and it can't even move. It's really, really bad. The ASUS ROG's headrest, this is above average for a headrest that I've seen on chairs. So compared to this sorry excuse for a headrest, it is phenomenal. When it comes to warranty, Steelcase offers a 12-year warranty on all their new chairs, except for in the UK where they offer 5. Again, proven track record, excellent customer service, 2 years on the ASUS ROG, and unknown customer service experience with them. Now, if you do want to get a used Steelcase Leap V2, I highly, highly recommend a company called CrandallOffice.com. These guys are guys that I trust. They have an excellent track record on Reddit, on pretty much everywhere you go. I'll have my links and coupon codes down in the description so you get extra savings. But yeah, these guys are phenomenal, and I highly recommend you get the remanufactured one with the extra cushion. And that is because the Steelcase Sleep V2 seat pad is notorious for bottoming out. And that means when you sit on it, after a couple of hours, you feel the hard bottom when you sit. So highly recommend you get that one. You also get a 12-year warranty on the entire chair from Crandall Office. And the biggest benefit is that brand new, a Steelcase Sleep is gonna run you about $1,300, whereas a used one is gonna run you about $600 compared to the ASUS ROG's $900 price tag. The Steelcase Gestrier lumbar is just okay. It goes up and down, and again, that's it. Compared to the ASUS ROG's lumbar, which can go in and out, up and down, much bigger range, and you definitely feel it as you move it around. You can't really feel the lumbar all that much inside of this chair. The Steelcase Gestrier's arms, though, are phenomenal compared to pretty much every other chair on this list. This arm can literally be moved into any position that you want it to be, so you can move it up, you can move it out, in, and you can pretty much have it anywhere you want. The one downside that both of these have is that it does tend to move just a little bit too easy. The ASUS ROG's arms, especially in the front and back, move very easily. The Gestrier's arms are a little bit prone to easy movement as well. Steelcase in general have arms that are prone to easy movement, except for the Karman, which is super duper hard. I think it's like an overswing of the pendulum. Anyways, in terms of freedom of seating, again, both of these seats allow a lot of freedom of moving around inside the chair, but the Steelcase Gestrier moves and bends with you. The frame also feels phenomenal. The build quality on the Gestrier is phenomenal. Like when you move this thing around, you just know that it's a super high quality chair. Steelcase does make a headrest for the Gestrier and is a phenomenal headrest. I would say it's probably the 3rd best headrest in the world. It is really, really great, but you have to get the chair configured with the headrest because there's no way to add it or remove it once you get it. So if you want it, you gotta get it configured with the headrest. Again, the ASUS ROG, this headrest is just above average, and it's okay. Now, the Steelcase Gestrier is gonna come with, again, a phenomenal warranty, 12 years, excellent track record of customer service. UK, you only get 5 years, whereas the ASUS ROG, you're gonna get 2 years and unknown track record of customer service. Now, the Steelcase Gestrier, I believe, starts at, I think it was $1,300 without a headrest and $1,500 with the headrest, but again, you get that excellent customer service and phenomenal build quality. Now, you can get a refurbished one or a used one. Again, the company that I recommend is CrandallOffice.com. This one actually is from CrandallOffice.com. Huge shout out to those guys for sending this over quite some time ago. And if you get this used one, it's gonna run you about $900 compared to a brand new one, which starts at $1,300. So about the same price as the ASUS ROG, and it's gonna come with a 12-year warranty from Crandall Office. So this chair is gonna be warranted the same amount from Steelcase, or the same amount of time as Steelcase. The lumbar support on the Steelcase Amia can only move up and down compared to the ASUS ROG, which can move in or out, and it can be slid up and down, all the way down, and you feel it significantly more than you do on the Amia. So the lumbar support on the ASUS ROG is gonna crush this chair and pretty much every fabric chair in this category. Now, when it comes to freedom of movement, again, both chairs offer a lot of freedom of movement in the chair. However, the Steelcase Amia, even though it's the lower tiered chair compared to the Gestrier and the Leap, the seat cushion on this is phenomenal. I think it's the best one compared to those two. I'm not exactly sure what Steelcase was thinking here, but yeah, this seat pad is absolutely phenomenal. In addition to that, the seat does move and flex with you, not nearly close to what a Leap and a Gestrier can do, but it still moves and flexes with you. Now, when it comes to the headrest, the Steelcase Amia does not have any kind of headrest option whatsoever. The Steelcase Amia comes with their 12-year warranty, excellent track record of customer service, and it starts at about $1,000. However, you can get it used. Again, the company that I recommend is CrandallOffice.com. Coupons and links will be down in the description below, and you can get it for, I believe, half the price at about $500 compared to the $900 price tag and the 2-year warranty for the ASUS ROG Chair. The Secretlab Titan Evo 2022 is going to be the only exception on this list, that even though it's using fabric and foam, the seat still feels firmer than the ASUS ROG Mesh Chair. Now, the ASUS ROG Mesh Chair costs twice as much as the Secretlab Titan Evo 2022, and it is better, in my opinion, in almost every way compared to the Secretlab. However, there are a couple advantages that the Secretlab has in 3 main ways. One is going to be if you're bigger and taller. The Secretlab Titan Evo 2022, especially the XL size, can accommodate taller folks and heavier folks. So if that's you, then this might be where you want to go. This or the Ahnestly Kaiser 3, which is my pick for favorite gaming, racing style gaming chair. They also have an XL size as well. Now, fun fact is that on the Titan Evo 2022, I did a sizing guide with some ladies. And what's interesting is that even though they were all too short for the XL size, they all picked the XL size as their overall winner because they said the seat pad actually felt softer compared to the other two. I reached out to Secretlab, asked them if that was the case, if they're using different foam. They said no, it's the same foam. So yeah, I just thought you should know. The second advantage that the Titan Evo 2022 has over the ASUS ROG is that you can tilt back further inside of this chair, which might be a big bonus if you're somebody who likes to really tilt back and kind of relax in your chair, or if you're somebody who even likes to nap inside of your chair. If that's you, this could be, one thing that you also consider. And the third is going to be, it's not really a headrest, right? But this thing is just totally cushioned, which means that it's soft all around, which means you're not gonna feel any kind of hard edge anywhere. Compared to the ASUS ROG's headrest, you get plastic on the sides, the bottom, and the top here, and some of this could dig into your head. So compared to that, this does feel a lot softer. Let me know in the comments if I helped you in your decision on which chair to buy. Buy our brother beer, donate to the channel, it really helps this channel a lot. Use my links, again, that also helps this channel a lot. Get subscribed. Until next time, stay safe, and as always, stay honest.